Good evening. I'm just here recording another video. Today's April 5th. It's about 2:59 a.m., 3 a.m. Excuse me, my voice is a little cracked. I'm a little tired, but I'm making this video because this is really important. Like I said, if you watch any of my other previous, or if you've seen my other videos, or if I posted more, you'll notice, like I said, it all has, they're all gonna have a recurrent theme. Not theme, excuse me. That's kind of generic for the, especially for the situation and process. But one thing that I do explain is like I said, it has a lot to do with my journey. Like I said, voices in the head, things like that, because it's important. As far as relevance, things like that, that's probably the most important part, and that's just simply for a reason, because that's the structure of what's happening, and my journey. Like I said, the voices in my head are for a reason. They're all delivered under threat. Like I said, some people, have voices in their head, and what you'll find, at least prior to, more recently, is the voices were basically denoted that, or designated that somebody was basically, at least by medical standard, or medical understanding, somebody was kind of crazy. Somebody was, excuse me, had some medical issues. But that didn't really, mean that for a long time. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. And it doesn't really, because if you think about it, those are manifest somewhere. What exactly does that mean? How I know the brain is very complex, and some it can be very seemingly can turn on you, if especially if it's not taken care of, or it has some underlying pre-existing condition, say, or anything that you hear that they'll lend to that, be it genetics, drug use, they'll lend all kinds of stuff, trauma, they'll lend it anything to it, and as far as the medical community goes, that's kind of understandable, because they don't have a lot to base it off of, so they go with what can be kind of established, or what can be supported, but it always seemed a little bit different to me, especially now, because now that I have my own experience with it, but I know different. But if you think about it, that, like I said, this all has to be manifest somewhere. So like I said, if it's manifest somewhere, it kind of depends on what is being said. What is the person going through, and more often than not, like I said, you'll find a person is experiencing one of a couple of things. It's either kind of malicious. It's either gonna be something malicious, and it's gonna be driving this person. It's gonna be driving kind of nuts. Not nuts as far as kind of not. I'm not saying nuts as far as it's going to be making them anything other than, but it's going to be basically pestering, or just to say the very least, it's going to be bothering this person. Their overwhelming desire is always going to be they're like you see in the movies, you see them, they're grabbing their head and they're like I can't take it anymore. So obviously, whatever's going on in their head is bothersome. It's not not conducive to well-being. So then you start thinking, okay, why is this always the case, or something along those lines? Why are people always being tormented? And then on the other hand, you might have one of a couple other things. You might have visions of religious. I don't want to say they'll ascribe to like religious grandeur, or religious experiences, epiphanies, or things like that. People will say, I'm the reincarnation of something. I'm Christ, or second coming of Christ. Or, I'm this person or that person. Or they'll kind of describe something that they've experienced. Maybe read. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with that, but too much as far as other people's. I just know it happens quite a bit. People a lot of times will kind of just pop up on the. You'll hear about certain people, and they'll say that they're in their mind they're having a religious kind of experience, and then people will think that they're crazy, because that one's always been a little weird for me to kind of comprehend, because here we are, we're living beings, and on one side we many of us accept, or we're people of belief, but yet when people have these religious experiences, most people will discredit or dismiss it. Excuse me. Some will discredit it, or dismiss it. I don't know if that's because it kind of frightens people, or it offends them. But it always was intriguing to me. So like I said, but then I started thinking about it medically, and the thing that got me thinking was, I started doing the connecting the dots a little bit, especially after I started having my experiences, my journey, my experience with mental health, and the one thing that I kept noticing was, everywhere that I turn, I'm blocked off by something. If I go and I tell people that I have voices in my head, what's going to happen is one of a couple things. They're going to say, okay, that's because of this, because I've been a user for quite a while. It's something I've always struggled with, in my adult life, for a good part of my adult life. They're going to say, okay, it's the drugs. Okay, so we got the drugs. That one usually dead ends the conversation pretty quick, because to me that goes hand in hand with also with the stigma of drug use. People just say, okay, it's the drugs, and the drugs are what's doing it. Okay, to me that doesn't check out, simply because, like I said, I know I've experienced, I've had a lot of experience with drug use, and to me, it's as far as when they say it's the drugs, it's not the drugs, it's the process and system that's in place. The fact that they can in fact, I say take off on you, but what I mean is they can use this to affect you heavily. What they do is they turn the system on, this as far as radio frequency and energy, and when you use, it opens up different parts of your brain. You're using a different brain speed, processing kind of things like that. It's almost like a computer, but I mean it's like you can think of artists, you know what I mean, musicians, artists as far as painters, things like that. Poets, you know, all types of different artists, free thinkers, people that use, you know, kind of connect to a different, you know, a little bit different, have a little bit different understanding, or, you know, I mean, we see them through a little bit different light, you know, we see them in a little bit different light. If we're not an artist, a musician, a poet, lyricist, you know, things like that, or you know, you look at, let's say, like a surrealist painting, and you think, wow, you know, what was going through that person's mind? And if they came around and told you, well, you know, I took some drugs and you know, I just go into this other part of my mind, you know, then it kind of makes sense, because you look at that and you're like, wow, you know, just look at some paintings by Salvador Dali and things like that, and or any surrealism, or just about any, you know, you want to know where these people got their talent, or where they see and envision some of this stuff. And on that level, we kind of accept it as the drugs kind of open up this other, you know, this gateway kind of thing. You know, you go to another kind of, you know, just another, you know, some weird, you know, landscape. And then when we think about it like that, it kind of makes sense, because we're like, oh, well, we don't really want to. Okay, that's cool. You know, I'm glad you're the artist, not me. You know, kind of thing. You know, I don't really want to go there. You know, when you see some of this stuff, you know, it's kind of neat and intriguing. But even if you're into it, but you know, when you think about it, it's kind of scary, because you know, you don't really want to go there. Just watch an interview, like I said, about Salvador Dali, or with Salvador Dali, something like that. And yeah, you just kind of like, whoa, you know, not sure if I want to, you know, travel there. But like I said, then you have then you got on the flip side of that, you got people that are just are dismissed, that don't really channel that into something very specific. It's where they have a lot of this time on their hands, I would say, or this openness of their mind, but yet they don't. I would say, for the most part, this is my theoretical, my assessment, you know, my kind of observational assessment. Somebody like Charles Manson, you know, he's got the openness of mind. I mean, his mind is out there. I mean, his mind is just, if you listen to some of his interviews, you know, people dismiss him as a killer, just so they kind of, it's taboo to even watch anything about it, or you feel some kind of way. But to me, that's not the case. So it's intriguing to me. So I watch these kind of things. I'm intrigued by it. Not because he's a killer, or because I idolize or romanticize or emulate or anything like that. I don't at all. But the state of mind is what intrigues me. So it would just be like, you know, to me, what I see when I'm doing that is probably akin to something that maybe a psychologist does when they're doing some research or studying. That's just kind of how I see it. You know, naturally occurs to me. It's just like, you know, I'm just observing. But so when I see that, you know, I see, say, Charles Manson. You know, he's talking on some, you know, very little stuff. What you'll see is kind of directionality. He's like, you know, what he says is, you know, you people, it's always, you know, all of you guys against me. It's very one direction, and that's what it always comes down to. It's you know, everybody against me. You know, with Charles Manson. Whereas, say, Salvador Dali, he's more of, he's kind of, it seems that he enlightened himself, and then he almost sees himself on another level. You know what I mean? He's not very condescending as far as outwardly, where he points. You know, he doesn't point people out and say, you know, you're below me, that kind of stuff. Or I'm smarter than you. He doesn't really outwardly say that too much, but you get this air of enlightenment, or some sort of, he's on another level of thought, and he just kind of, he's to himself with it, and you know, he's kind of open about it as well. If you want to ask him questions, he'll answer you, but it's probably going to be some kind of a dance or run around your question, where he's going to get more answers out of you than you do him, and so it's kind of to him, that's just the way he operates, and it's very difficult to somebody like him that he channels that in a different way. But you can see kind of the roots of the issue are the same. He's more of, you're not going to get my mind. I'm going to do it my way, kind of, and I'm going to show people, that I'm right. This and that, kind of that sort of attitude. That's kind of what I take out of him, without him, so forward with saying. Then like I said, I watched something like Charles Manson. I see much of the same, but instead of the run around, he does it his own way as well. But he's more of accusatory kind of thing, where he'll openly say, well, you guys, you came looking for me, I was just, this and that, and where he's like, you all try to hold me down, and you all want to, put me to death, and this kind of thing, and he'll always, and it's always, but he's kind of found a way to be okay with it. Because he's grown up in prison his whole life. He accepts it, and he basically says, there's nothing more you can do to me. It's just, it is the way it is. That's kind of what I see in Charles Manson. But what I see is a bit of an acceptance, in all the way across the board. And I believe that's what happens for people that have dealt with this for quite a while. Like I said, you end up getting a handle on it, as far as the mental part of it. And you learn to live with it. Some people have a harder time doing that. I'm sure that's for reasons, but like I said, some people are, they struggle greatly, and that's the part that troubles me. More so than anything is the people that completely struggle with it, because it's a forced situation. It's basically mental torture. Like I said, if you can't find a way to find some sort of semblance of acceptance or peace with it, it is torturous, very much so. And as we go on, especially these days and ages, in these times, it's even more so, because they're dialing it in, and we're very pointedly, they're incorporating different aspects that probably weren't before. Like I said, with technology and advancement, now it's coupled with, like I said, this frequency and this energy, and it's almost like it's a physical. There's physical aspects of it now. I'm sure much more so than before. Whereas, failure to capitulate or comply, or show some sort of adherence to or subservience to, you actually get, you can get what I say lit up to. They can. It's almost. I hate to put it this way, but it's almost like being on an electronic kind of, almost like an electronic collar. If you go past the designated lines, you catch a buzz or something, and they're gonna let you know. And I've had my experiences where with this system, I was actually walked around, and almost like a radio-controlled car. It's not that I was getting, I'm not going to say I was being harmed if I didn't do this, that, or the other, but the suggestion, the power of suggestion is very real. Sometimes you do get, like I said, you will catch something very physical. It's frightening. It will shock your system, kind of, and it will literally shock your system, and it will let you know, hey, not a good idea. And now you're under a different understanding. That's all I can say. It's not funny, but that is about as clear cut as it needs to be. And like I said, and then you have, like I said, you have voices, very aggressive, very demeaning, for some, I'm sure. Others maybe not so much, but For some, like I said, mine are very pointed, very aggressive, very demeaning, very frustrated, very angry. Um, uh, Everything I do seems to frustrate the situation. And then it gets worse and worse and worse, and it bottlenecks into what you have now, which is culminated into threats and a call for death on my life. You know what I mean? A call for my death, a call for my life, and that of my family, my children, things like that. So this has oversight, like I said. Um, uh, you know, I did the the research, and I found where this starts and originates, and that's around 1850 with the start of radio frequency. That's what the radio was all about, because the radio frequency, the bands, and the radio frequency, the AM, FM, the frequency that was put out, they found that it of course, I'm sure it affects the brain. It may not look so much now like that, because we're probably evolved to now to where it may not show up, but I'm sure back then it did. But we've just evolved to accept it or to process it. So it may not show the same now, because we're 150 something years, 150, 170 years in. So this is something we've known our whole life. Most of us, all of us, really, we've known this our whole lives. But the part that may show, is what's going on now. Because they are in fact incorporating different elements of it, and they're using direct energy now, more direct energy, to actually stimulate different parts of your brain. So people under observation, medical observation, I'm sure you will see different parts of the brain light up, and they'll say that you're kind of, I bet they'll say that you're impulsive or something like that, because as it's gone along, I'm sure they've mapped it out, and during their studies they've incorporated it and shown it to be maybe an impulse or an action, something like that. But what's really happening is we're being kind of led and suggested, and we act upon it. So what we're not seeing is these subtle suggestions or the things like that. The only thing that really would show up is a quick a direct bam, direct energy, or something just lights up, kind of unannounced, unaware. But if you can find that in somebody, and I would suggest in people's sleep, because that's when your brain should be pretty static, as far as on a pretty even keel. So people with a lot of activity in their sleep, probably are the best way to study this. But like I said, they take off on you in your sleep during the day, and like I said, and they actually taunt and laugh that it'll never be figured out. They say it's and then they say if they do, you're dead. So they have it covered. They say that if it ever gets figured out, we're all dead. And that's for a reason as well, because they tied it to the like I said, the whole from a certain level up in the medical community, the medical sciences. I shouldn't say community; it's more in the sciences. It's way up, on the higher levels. From what I would theorize, because it's people on in the medical community. I think what's happening is, as they become aware, they're also aware that if they identify, they're medical professionals. They're not. It doesn't take a genius to figure that one out. If you identify, you're gonna have some problems, and that might be what many are lending to at this time. Or under the understanding of, and because they've experienced something, I'm sure they've seen, plenty. But unfortunately, like I said, my situation won't allow me to, one way or the other, because I'm just continually, taunted and lauded, and just I'm continually inundated with just threats and because of who I am and who I've come to know myself to be, and obviously certain people as well, because they, I'm under forced threat of revealing who I am. So the only thing I can meet that with is at least cautious of the way I do that, because of course, from what I'm gathering, it's it can be the situation can turn dangerous for many because of that. So I try to do so in a manner befitting, or becoming of what I know, my understanding to be, and that is because that's the only thing that's within me. Some, I'm sure, on the side of overseeing, of watching, yeah, we'll say that I'm being conditioned or led, to reveal in a peaceful manner. Which, think about that. That's kind of that's crazy. Can you imagine people are sitting here and actually, when basically who I know myself to be is one of inspirited by angels, to be actual people prophesied of, basically divine being, which is as simple as we can make it. Divine being. A divine being is just a very enlightened person, in my assessment. They'll attribute angels with very with some empowerment, heavenly and celestial empowerments that I can assure you I don't control. I don't have control over that. I'm a messenger. I'm here to bring a message, not to drop threats, because I couldn't make those happen, even if I wanted to. I can appeal just like anybody else can. I can appeal to, I would say it's a little different in my case, because the only difference between myself and anyone else is that this is, I accept this as fact, because it's been along my journey, it's been proven to, in its own way, this can happen to anyone. Anyone speaking of it or speaking on it, either one knows about it, two knows about my journey, or three has experience with it, or has gone along on the same, been through some of the same journeys. So do the math on that. They're beholding of the same information. So to call me out, upon it is kind of ludicrous. That's just how I see it. Because if you're gonna, if you're going to, if you're gonna call somebody out, upon something, then of course, I would hope that it's in a manner befitting that of what it is. Like I said, so they have a lot of knowledge of this, and all I can say is, of course, it's very real, and that's why you've seen some of the secret societies, a lot of the things. This is what I'm not a member of one. I can assure you that, and that's on my word. Like I said, and you won't, they'll be impossibly pressed to prove otherwise, because I'm not. I just have an understanding of much of vast, knowledge and things, and like I said, it's I get it from books, and my books are right here. I get it from the internet. I get it from books. I read. Everything that's available to me is available to anyone else. I can, if I ran down my list of books here, you'd be able to get the exact same knowledge and understand it in probably a very understanding way, or something, that's akin to exactly what I've what I can explain. The parts that you probably couldn't are where experience comes in, and something that I've been through. it might be something of the mental health issue, or an understanding, or my ability to navigate or manage through that, or something of that matter. Those are the parts that come with experience, because, like I said, I've been in mental hospitals on psychological evaluations. I've been to a mental hospital for a stay. It wasn't very long, maybe a couple of days. I was cleared medically, and I was released, and I went home. Like I said, I've been to prison. In prison is where I found other, resources as far as books, things like that. That when I got out, I got one online, and I got the same books I have them here. It's just those are the things that are hard to explain on how my journey just kind of weaved together, and all this knowledge came together. That's where the kind of divine part comes in, and how all this knowledge goes together, and basically, who I've become, and all the coincidences and things like that. That's the only difference. When these people speak of this empowerment, this, that they're speaking on now, the knowledge of things that I may, depending on who you are and whether you accept it or not, or things like that, that I'm possibly inspired by being an angel, God himself, Christ. I accepted that even before. You know what I mean? If you're a believer, you just kind of, at least from my experience, in religion, things like that, saying going to church. When you go to church and people are singing and they're in the middle of praise and worship and things like that, people are very they're inspirited. They're definitely not just standing there and kind of, they're they're feeling something, and that goes with many on various levels and across different like I said, beliefs and things like that. That's all that is, and they're feeling the atmosphere of everybody around them. They're in a communal place, in a place of worship, place of fellowship, and that's what that is. Like I said, but mine is as much the same. Things have been proven to me, and that's all it is. It's a belief in my, like I said, and I can explain mine. And does that mean something literally? Some people will argue, but some people are arguing on the all the way to the fact of well, now he's got to go because he's been identified, and that's one of their things, is that they go around, basically that's the sentiment and the feeling that I'm getting, and literally stated as well from the voices in my head, that they're basically almost like I get one of two things. Okay, on some of the voices in my head, they'll admit that they're vigilante justice. That's where it started. They go after people that in this life, have a certain something, price to pay. So they're basically a technological and medical death squad, excuse me, that goes around identifying people and surveilling minds, basically. And once they surveil your mind, if it comes out that you're one of I guess any designation of people, or things that they're looking for, then you're dead. And this is their way of population control. They say that this has been in effect for a long time, which I doubt, because like I said, when it was when I was introduced to it, unnaturally, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was walked through a process, and it was very unnatural, like I said. And you can tell along the way that was being this whole process was being calibrated and reworked, worked and reworked, and kind of perfected, if you will. And also the technological aspect and the medical aspect will speak to that as well, because prior to a certain time, you're not going to be able to have certain advancements. So basically, what's happening is as technology and advancement goes on, medical sciences, things like that, this thing's being worked on, and things are coming up, and so one aspect that I do know that is probably one of the things that they're looking for, if you look into like Project Bluebeam, things like that. They were obviously very aware of divine beings. And if you look over during the advancement of technology and medical sciences and things like that, and then you pair it with some of the actions of the church and inactions and things like that, you'll see that there's a knowledge that is being a certain knowledge that is happening. Because the church back in the day, even to the early, back in the day, say 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way up until maybe the 70s, things like that. You had a lot of exorcisms and things like that. But as technology once technology passed a certain point, awareness, on some level started shifting. That's where you stopped seeing the church stopped doing like exorcisms. They stopped really identifying. They started limiting the sainthood, beatifications. They really hit the brakes on identifying divine beings. For some reason, that says much. As technology goes on, it's kind of the battle of that's been, I shouldn't say battle, that's the wrong word to use, but the struggle of the sciences against religion. If you watch movies like the Da Vinci Code, Angels versus Demons, things like that, they speak of this very directly. And also because it kind of, although those movies are fictitious, a lot of it is mirrored off of facts and issues and real world things that are going on. So that's what that's what a lot of movies are formed off of. So if you watch these movies, like I said, you see them talking about the struggle between the sciences and religion, and that's been a major one since just time passed. You have the religion and science are always at some point they come to an impasse of sorts, and I'm sure that's obviously for various reasons. Also, you'll see the suppression of certain information, like Galileo, astronomy, astrology, certain aspects of it, alchemy, things like that. They're always sought and held down or suppressed, and people oppressed or persecuted for some of these understandings or awarenesses or ways of being or practicing or understanding or pursuing. And then you have to think, why is that? I don't know, but well, I know, I believe I do, but I'm saying theoretically, most people just kind of leave it, why do they leave it at that? Because it's hard to get to the answer. That's why they suppress and oppress it. It's very natural to. I had that the same exact way of thinking myself until it started to kind of make sense to me. And that's the only difference, like I said, between myself and say more of a layperson in some of these elements, some of these teachings or studies. And then they'll say that I should be killed for bringing the knowledge, or I need to go and I need to be silenced so that the knowledge doesn't reach individuals because it's dangerous. Well, the only danger that I can speak of at this time is that more than likely, almost 100, I'm almost convinced entirely, is that these sciences or the knowledge of them are being used against us right now. That's where the threats come in. They say I need to be killed, I need to be silenced, I need to, this, that, and the other. But the only issue that, like I say, that I can find is that these are now being used against us, and it most definitely is not by myself. How can one person possibly carry out, I can't, I just can't, because that takes up a lot of people, and that takes up a lot of free will. People may not like the word free will, but call it whatever you want. That takes a lot of decision making, and definitely it's not me. The next natural thing that they're gonna, that I would cover, is because they're gonna say, well, you're the, they'll say I'm the most intelligent person, they'll do one of two ways. I'm the most intelligent person on earth, or that I have a certain way of gathering information, or that I have a certain way of, and they'll say it's almost that I extract information from people, like I'm a psychic or something. That I'm basically gathering intelligence. I'm most definitely not. I've been in prison. I've been locked up for a long time. A good part of a lot of this time that they're going to try to account for. Excuse me. I'm getting passionate because it's funny to me. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. But the line of thinking that they've thrown into some people have thrown into this. I've been incarcerated for quite a while. I've been homeless. Then it reverts back to I'm the drug guy. I'm the drug user. I'm a drug user. I've been to mental hospitals. I've been homeless, living on the street. I've been locked up, and I've been in prison. I've been in county jail for quite a while, and I've been in prison, in Arizona Department of Corrections prison. So now you got all those elements, right? On one hand, they'll discredit me and dismiss me, but then on the other hand, they forget all that, and I'm now the most intelligent guy on earth, extracting information from people. This and that. So which one am I? I'm a normal guy, just like anybody else. Like I said, drug use, all this stuff, it's overrated. They use this to hold us down, to dismiss us. They're in our heads. They have been for a long time. All the evidence of that is there. With government, like I said, experimenting. All these technologies that they've incorporated into things like that. Like I said, I'm just trying to survive like everybody else. But now they've gone to threatening people, literally silencing people, and using situation and circumstance to fly this under the radar. But the part is going on right now that's very serious. People are dying, and like I said, people are dying very rapidly. Especially with this COVID-19, this coronavirus. They literally are in my head, and they say, the minute you get a fever, you're fucking dead. That's their exact wording. Why? Because they're going to use that as the catalyst to say that I had the corona and that I died naturally. Things like that. And that's why some of these people are it's possible, it's very possible that people are in fact dying as a result of having this frequency and this energy used against them. That's very, very, very possible. And it's unfortunately, it could be that they're dialing in and perfecting because anything that comes to realization had to be perfected, had to be dialed in. So like I said, the probable, the most probable is that people are being experimented upon, people that are sick, and they may try and justify that by saying, well, we have to find a way to, eradicate this disease. I hate to state the obvious, but, shelter in place and trying to pinpoint, its spread and things like that, and helping those that get sick to make it through, and then eradicating that, naturally is probably the best bet. Killing people, that's just silencing people. They're fine. They're trying to find a way to, the best way to silence people and to population control. And why are they doing the population control? Like I said in one of my previous videos, it's all about money. Because the infrastructure is falling apart, and it's becoming unsustainable. But the part that, like I said, is we're all here now, and going forward, how can we have population control? I would say, birth control awareness, things like that. Helping each other out, just being very careful going forward, to help each other out and try to make it, population control is going to happen one way or the other on its own. If it's unsustainable, it's unsustainable. Basically what they have now is a selection process. They're killing people. So should we just, it's either, like I said, it's going to happen, whether it happens because of awareness or because of people selecting and killing people. It's being realized one way or the other. But on one end, it's crazy. It's maniacal. I mean, if you think about it, one way people are just selecting and killing people. The other way is kind of like a natural thing, and but I would hope it brings out the best in us. Now imagine, like I said, what this brings out, a system of selection and killing, what that has brought out in individuals and people, in general. What mindset that has brought out in people. And that, like I said, that is within a certain, element or circle of people that are aware. So people that are aware, imagine what that has done to their reasoning or their possible, or to their to some, what kind of people has it produced. Now imagine if we're all, we're all in this together, and we all have an awareness and an understanding that the world's getting unsustainable, so we need to help each other out. Things like that. Naturally, we're gonna, people that aren't contributing, people that kind of go in the opposite direction. People don't want to help them. People that aren't pulling their weight, pulling their slack. People that are looking for slack or not pulling their weight. Things like that. They're going to show themselves naturally. They're not going to get a lot of help. They're going to kind of what do you call that? Ostracize themselves. So it kind of works itself out. The rest, hopefully will band together, take care of each other, make this thing happen. Anybody that's not, that just kind of isn't taking a full-on interest in it, is going to find their own, whatever that is. They're going to struggle. But this way, or now you have an exalted kind of, is really what it is, because, people are deciding now. And I've seen the reasoning go from, it's crazy, because people literally, if I got to use the bathroom, I hate to say it, if I got to use the bathroom, they will literally start screaming. Like some individuals start yelling. That's all it takes. Fuck you, you're fucking dead. That's because they're tethered to me. It's almost like remote viewing, or they're looking through, they're watching the software program, tied into me, and they're basically, I think what's happening is they're pretty much like my handlers, but they're stuck with me 24/7, and if they don't kill me off, then it probably means that they're struggling. It's a system of it's like tug of war. They have people tied into me, and they basically say, well, you have to take this guy out. If not, you're the one that's going to be getting, it may not have started like that. You know what I mean? What speaks to me more is like people took that upon, almost like a job. Yeah, well, no problem. Yeah, we'll handle it. It shouldn't be too much because we got all the access to their mind. Power suggestion. He's a drug user. He's this, that, and the other. Okay, yeah, we got him. It's in the bag. Almost like a mercenary kind of thing. And then, they took off on me. Tried to, and they almost had me. Like I said, they almost ran me face first in the dirt. I was out there acting a fool. Not acting a fool, but I was not. I was this side of crazy. Full blown. But I remember one day I said, while I'm here, I'm gonna do whatever I can to while I have the mind to do it, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make a difference. And around that point, it's been a rough ride still, but like I said, I've committed a lot of myself to understanding and awareness, and I've educated myself, and I've grown a lot in every way. I put off all the the trappings of what I knew of myself, and I put those aside, and in many ways, and I committed myself to doing something else, and like I said, it would always be debated in many ways. But the only thing that matters, the only thing that not the only thing that matters, but the only thing that is pertinent is right now. Because, like I said, from a point, they're going to struggle to say that I'm something. I'm something that I'm not. They're going to assert and try to they're going to try to put on me, basically that I'm the same person, or they're gonna continually try to paint me in a certain light, which is not the truth. It goes to the basic, you learn from your. I don't want to say it's not the right wording. You have to learn from the things you've done. That's what I'll say. If you don't learn from the things you've done, then you are the same person, of course. Some people will say that certain things are just never going to ever be able to be worked through, or you can never be salvaged or redeemed, of yourself or of the things that you've done, salvation and redemption. But that comes with knowledge. It's almost like the knowledge of good and evil. The original, one of the original issues. It goes back to kind of like that. Why is that? Because those that are holding me down, or persecuting and oppressing me, and imposing vigilante justice on me, have kind of, in their own way, burdened, or kind of tethered themselves with the knowledge, a certain knowledge, and that is what that won't allow them to separate any longer. And it's almost like they can't, they can't go on, knowing that, for many reasons. And now it's more literal because, they've held on, for so long that, everything's coming out, all the truth is coming out, it's coming to realization, it's being revealed. And that's really all it